Coffee on, chaos managed. Welcome to Couch Talk.
Today, we're going to be talking some more about Veterans Affairs. In particular, we're going to talk about filing for VA disability.
Yeah, because there's thousands of veterans that are out there that have chronic pain, anxiety, just,
a myriad of different things that they go through, achy joints,
hearing loss.
Oh, my back. Oh, yeah. Or even vision. Because everybody just assumes, you lose your hearing, you start losing your sight when you get in your 40s and 50s. It's just normal aging. Well, maybe it's not.
It's probably something that started in service.
Very likely for many.
Filed.
Well, think about the different things that you're involved in. I mean, how my husband, for example, working on board ships, you're down in there by the engines. You got your rack right by the engine room. And all you hear is that constant noise,
drumming,
24/7.
Yeah.
And he ended up with tinnitus as well as hearing loss, along with a few other things that.
Mine's combat engineer, blowing stuff up. He was a demolitions expert. They were blowing things up. I mean, and them stupid little hearing things that they give you, they're not helpful.
Not enough.
But not enough. And before we get too far into our discussion and information, we do need to put out just a little bit of a disclaimer. We're just sharing information. We're just trying to be here to encourage you. We're not attorneys.
No, we're not. We're not any kind of
legal representative in any way.
It's just that we've walked down this road with our own spouses, and we're just sharing information because our spouses talk to people that are clueless about the whole system.
Yeah, and we just want to do it in a way where we're giving you plain English.
Right.
We're not, a lot of the stuff that you find out there is complicated gobbledygook.
Well, or if you can even dig to find it. That's true. You have to be an excavation expert at times to find the information.
Exactly. So when it comes to actually filing your claim, we recommend you look for somebody that is qualified. I'm going to say one of the veteran service officers.
Right.
They do that for free.
Yes, they do. There are other organizations that veterans can be involved with. And I believe that they offer free services like the DAV
some do.
And AMVETS and things like that.
Some do. DAV, AMVETS, they do, but there's some that charge you.
Right. There are. So I have been getting a plethora of things across my Facebook about, getting you from 0 to 100% claim and
so just look very carefully, and you can actually go out on the VA's website. And you can find a lot of information out there. So let's talk a little bit about why veterans don't file. Why don't they?
How about they just don't really think that what's going on with them is anything to do with having been in the service, like we were originally talking about. I'm just getting older.
Yeah. Well, and somebody's worse off than me. I don't need to file. Somebody else is worse off than me.
And they feel like they would somehow be taking away a benefit that another person
could use.
And that is 100% false, because you've earned it. You served your time. You signed on the dotted line, giving the United States government your person as their property for the length of time that you were in the service.
Exactly.
So everything that happened to you while you were in service, you're their property. They're responsible for it and you. So now it's viable to go back and collect what's due you. You earned it.
Most definitely. And you have to realize that just because somebody else lost more, that doesn't mean that you've lost nothing.
Exactly. And even things that you might think are just, it's no big deal. Those things can sometimes start to build and get worse
as time goes on,
because you didn't decide to address it.
And I think that's where pride comes in.
There's some of that.
That's a built-in thing. As you're serving, you get that just pull your drawers up, soldier, and soldier on.
Exactly.
And
you don't have time for that. You don't have time to sit there and get a pacifier because you got an ache or a pain.
You got to tough it out.
Grab your gear and go. You got to be somewhere, and it doesn't matter if you hop there on 1 foot the whole entire way. You do it.
Well, yeah. So I mean, we've got to put that mentality aside.
Definitely.
because that's not going to serve you.
Well, it doesn't apply any longer. You're not
No.
in the service any longer.
That's true. That service mindset that made you strong in service, that can actually keep you silent afterwards.
It can, and that's not going to help you whatsoever. You need to, this is where you really have to most definitely be a self-advocate,
Yep.
because they're not going to offer it to you on a silver platter. They're
No.
not going to give you the guidance and say, okay, this is what you need to do. And
Which
take
is
you
why
by the
we're
hand.
doing this, because we had to do digging and finding ourselves.
Months and years and
Yeah.
tripping
And some
through.
of the stuff that's out there really is, they're talking and they're throwing terms out there and you're going, what?
Right. And then you try to find the information, because the VA website, granted, there's
It's
a lot of
overwhelming.
information, but it's very overwhelming. It's daunting to a lot of people. My husband is not a tech person whatsoever.
And neither is mine. Neither is
He's
mine.
hardcore blue collar. And when it comes to that stuff, he looks at it and it's like, no, not doing it.
Well, do you know that overwhelm is actually one of the reasons why many veterans don't file?
It's understandable.
It's the overwhelm. It's the paperwork. It's
the
holy
not
cow,
knowing.
that whole big ball of wax.
Another thing of it is too, is that you're not aware that you don't just send little bits in at a time, because they keep coming back at you. And the process takes the VA themselves long enough to go through your claim to begin with, even to respond to you.
But it's my understanding they're streamlining that a
They're
little
supposed to be quickening the system.
Yeah. But, well,
we'll see.
We'll see how that goes.
Working on things.
We are in process.
We are. So, I can understand where, a lot of times people, they just don't do it.
They don't,
because sometimes it's even just the thought of having to look on the computer for something. No, don't make me www nothing.
I don't want to do it. Well, and then one of the other fears is they're out of the service. They've got a job. How is this going to affect my work?
Let's disabuse you of that thought process, because first and foremost, this is a personal claim. It's nobody else's business.
Yeah, the VA doesn't make that public.
They don't make it public.
Your employers don't know.
You don't have to. There's nothing on an application that says, "Do you have a disability claim?" No.
Yeah, no. And I don't think they can ask you that.
No, but because it starts getting into the health thing, which HIPAA law precludes them from asking you any questions about your health.
Yeah. Unless you are claiming a disability, because I think that there are some applications that they'll ask if you need any kind of an accommodation.
That's different.
The AD, that's very different.
Yeah, because it depends on what disability you're applying for.
Yes.
If you're looking at something with hearing loss, vision loss, these are things your company does not need to know, unless, of course, you're supposed to be answering the phone and you can't hear the person on the other line. That could be problematic.
Or you can't find the phone to answer it. I mean...
I'm sending you to somebody.
Line one.
Mr. Jones, is this your office? Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Jones, is this your office? Oh.
Mrs. Wiggins.
Okay, we got to quit that.
So, there we go for that. So those are the basic things that we need to think about.
The things that keep you from going forward and putting in that claim. So
let's talk about, what is a VA disability? What is that?
Well, we've kind of alluded to it in some of the things when we first start off with talking about pains, anxiety, hearing loss, vision loss, these kind of things. But that's what creates the disability.
Correct.
The actual program itself, it's not a handout. It's not like, oh, you poor thing. No, it's an actual benefit that has been established by the Veterans Administration for the circumstances that our servicemen and women may find themselves dealing with
because of your service.
Post-service, exactly.
Yes.
And there's a whole way of going about looking into what might be linked to your service. That's a whole other conversation.
And we will have that at some point. We will do an episode on that.
Because this is going to be part of a whole series of things.
Yes, but this is actually compensation.
It is compensation.
That you're given for service-connected
disability,
injury, illness,
right,
disability,
conditions. Something could have happened. You just, and sometimes, it goes, it's just, people just think that, well, where is it coming from? Well, it's part of the law.
It is. It's written into federal law.
It's something that they, like, again,
part of that contract we talked about.
Part of the Veterans Administration. They're the ones that take care of determining who is, who isn't going to be receiving it. But
and the how and the why. And
it's a whole ball of legalese.
Yeah. Some people think it's like charity or welfare. No, it's not.
It's not. It's neither one of those. It's not like you have to continually prove yourself either.
No.
And I think that's what a lot of people are afraid of. They don't want to have to keep jumping through that hoop every single year.
And no, you don't. And again, to reiterate, it is not taking away from any other veterans. Each veteran has the exact same opportunity to apply for these benefits and receive the funding. It's not like there's this much money and we have to decide who's worthy. Who gets it? Yeah. No, it doesn't work that way.
It does not work that way at all.
Yeah. So if you signed a contract with the military, you have to realize the military signed that same contract with you. And that includes this benefit.
Exactly. So if you are considering filing, start here.
Yep.
First and foremost, you want to make sure to file your intent to file a claim for disability. There's an actual form to do this.
It's out on the VA website. I think it's va.gov.
Yes, it is va.gov.
It's va.gov.
You'll probably have to set up an account possibly, which it's no big deal. This way you just know what stuff you have because you're going to need it.
You're going to need that account anyway if you want to get into any of the medical records, if you want to get into anything.
And you need that. Also finding all the information too. There, you can get more involved into it.
Yes.
But you're going to want to file that because what this is going to do, when you file that intent, it date stamps when
you file
the administration gets your information.
Yep.
This is where the time clock starts ticking.
Yeah.
You have a year post that initial intent filing in order to get all of your information in there for your claim. So it doesn't mean that your claim has to be processed by that date or thing. It just has to be submitted.
It gives you that leeway. But it locks you in, like you said, it locks you into that potential effective date. That once you do get approved, it can go back to...
It could be actually post-paid.
Yeah.
Or back-paid.
Which is a good thing.
It's a very good thing.
That's a good thing.
So, everything you want to look at when you're doing this, once you get that intent done, now you're going to want to start write things down.
Yes. Everything you can think of.
Think of like a journal or a diary. If you go to bed at night, I don't care what you do before you go to bed at night, brush your teeth, whatever, sit there and think to yourself, okay, I noticed that things just don't start, feel right. Maybe I'm not sleeping as well as I ought to. Or perhaps you're noticing that you have a pain somewhere by 3:00 in the afternoon. Just anything that notice about yourself, physical,
what if
emotional.
You're having nightmares? You're having nightmares about something that happened, and you can connect that back and say, wait a minute, I remember.
Right. I mean, but the thing tricky with nightmares is they might not actually be like a lot of people, they revisit a scene and it plays over and over again. Sometimes you can end up with just night terrors, but they're created because of the emotional and mental trauma of an event.
Exactly. So if you're if you're having nightmares, that can all be triggered by an event that could have happened.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you just want to make sure that you're making note of it. If you have gone to see a doctor for anything,
how it affects your life.
Yeah.
How it affects your life. And the most important thing, and I know, and this is especially for our guys that served in the military, they tend to minimize. Men tend to minimize.
Yeah.
A lot of the issues that they have. Let's
think about it. Most people that go into the military are what they classify like an A-type personality.
Yeah.
They're the more aggressive and doers and take charge, risk taker kind of personalities. So you do.
They're willing to jump out of that plane, rappel down that mountain.
Parachute,
You forgot something.
Got a little bit anxious there, didn't we?
I'm good. But yeah, stop minimizing because every little thing can be something bigger.
Right.
And then we get to the point where we've got to actually start gathering that information together. So,
exactly. Which means, again, your personal documentation comes into play.
Yeah.
Because you're your best storyteller. But the other thing is any doctor that you've gone to for something,
chiropractor.
A chiropractor, yeah. If you've been to a chiropractor for something, if you've had to get glasses even, who knows? It could be something that goes back.
And that actually even includes if you've gone through the VA with the medical and you've used community care. Community care does not necessarily send everything to the VA. It might just be a synopsis of something because the VA has already approved any and all services for whatever through them. Yeah. So if you'd had community care something, you need to get that information from community care to submit with your claim.
So you basically just want to get a copy of your records from any of the doctors that you've gone to. Yeah. It's more to build your case.
Yeah, but your military medical, now that would be anything that while you were in service, if you went to the sick bay or clinic or whatever they called it,
whatever
your
division called it,
that would be those records that you want because that actually connects the incident to the injury and or illness.
But don't write it off as, oh, well, I didn't go. Yeah, my husband, he had a shoulder injury on board ship. It was when he was...
That's quite common,
Well,
because they're in the ships and stuff and they're getting bounced around.
He was not on duty at the time, but let's face it, you're on ship. It was during Cold War time. So you're on call regardless. You're still their person. You're their property. But there again, something went. It didn't feel that great, but not enough that I'm going to go. I'm not going to see the doctor. Because you didn't do that. You sucked it up. You pushed on, moved forward, and did your job.
Yeah. So it was unless it needed some sort of medical attention.
Exactly.
The majority of them didn't go. Don't let that put you off.
Just because he doesn't have it recorded on his medical records on ship doesn't mean it cannot be linked back to in-service injury. So, just don't write everything off simply because, that didn't happen when I was in the service.
Just write it down.
Put everything down. Because the next thing you're going to have to look into is connecting with, like we had said, the veteran service.
Yeah, a VSO.
A VSO officer that can help you. They'll look at things. Some of them will sit there and start questioning you.
Well, yeah,
to help you.
They'll connect the dots for you. That's their job. They've done this for people. Some of the places that you can go have certified people, like you said, DAV, whatever.
Yeah.
They have certified people that are qualified and certified.
And they're there to help you get your money. They're on your side.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. But definitely they're going to be there to help you know what forms you're going to need. Know what kind of documentation you're going to need. Know what wording. That's going to be a key thing too.
Yes, because there are keywords that are looked for in the system to put it through. I think what they've done is they're trying to automate the system.
So the bots can read it.
Well, and I'm really thinking that they're using AI for it because it goes through the system and if it pulls keywords out of paperwork,
it goes in
then
one pile
it goes
of the
to
other.
an actual body.
Oh, a person.
Yeah.
Oh, the trash bin.
Now I'm just guessing, but that was some of the information that
they're trying to automate everything. So
when trying to do our claim. So there it is. Okay, so who should actually start looking into this?
Well, that's really a wide range because consider things that you might not think are a big deal. Like we had mentioned with the tinnitus. Another thing that would be like migraines. If you're suffering from migraines, and this might not even be something that you've had all along, it could just show up one day.
Well, and then there's back and joint pain.
Definitely.
Anxiety, depression. I mean,
and then, you start looking into other things. They're extend from there, secondary conditions, and we'll touch all that in a different podcast because that gets really muddled itself. But, you just start in anything and everything that you got going on. Because really you could, when you really start digging into things, as especially you have done,
start connecting the dots.
I just go back and look into what your intake paper was. Look at what vaccinations you were given, and then start going down that rabbit hole.
So, that is a rabbit hole.
It is a rabbit hole.
Well, and it's just everything else. What were you subjected to while you were in service?
Yes.
I mean, what are your sleeping conditions? I know your husband was in Iraq in the Navy, and he's a tall guy. How do you fit a tall guy into a space this big? I mean,
round peg, square hole.
Exactly. But think about it. What does that do to a body?
Well, like we were talking about, having to heft around these big heavy sacks that they're carrying around on them with the
equipment. 80 pounds worth of stuff. The boots. How about the boots that you wear?
Yeah, those are nasty. They ruin your feet.
They do ruin your feet. And my husband has wide feet, so could you imagine sticking a wide foot into a narrow box?
I don't think that they care too much about accommodating certain things.
No, they don't.
You get your foot in there, okay, they fit.
Exactly.
But a lot of things that you can look into that could be problematic. I mean, what about just things that you experienced, your husband having been in demolitions?
Mm-hmm.
What about the first time you get out there and they say, okay, we're blowing this up, and it scares the living daylights out of you? I mean, if you're not used to these kind of things and the constancy of those noise levels, it can affect you.
I don't know how scared they get over that, but
I don't know. I think I'd jump.
That's just like even when you're outside, and if you're at fireworks and you get that loud one that just goes kaboom, you jump.
Well, you think of that. I mean, don't they do some practices where it's live rounds?
Oh, it's all live. So it's a lot of live stuff. They used to go out and they had one team that built the bridges, and their job was to go to rig the bridge and blow it up.
Okay, but take out beyond that, like when they're practicing for having to get through combat zones, they're crawling underneath the razor wire and all this stuff to.
Oh, the obstacle courses.
Isn't there a part in time that they actually do live round?
Are you talking like
maybe it's just the mind? No, I'm talking about where they're keeping their butts from getting shot up, and they've got.
I don't know.
It's maybe just firing high overhead, or sounding like they are.
I don't want to know.
No, I don't blame you. I don't want to know either.
I mean, just where you're at to begin with.
Sure. It can be traumatic just being away from your comfy bed.
Well, but you're away from your family. You don't know when you're going to have that connection again.
Right.
That in itself can be traumatic. I mean, when you think about it,
just with the looming possibility of being called to action at any point in time. We look at things like today. In today's day and age, for the most part, we're not sitting there sending people off to fight battles. As far as drafting them and all that stuff, but we've got so much tension in the world.
We do.
That you really, even when you're not in wartime, there's always that possibility.
Threat. It's the constant threat.
Sure. I mean, look at all the crud that was going on over the Middle East. We still have stuff going on.
Oh, yeah, we still have ships and stuff going on over there. I mean, you just never know. So when you're signing on the dotted line, your side of the contract, and they're signing on the dotted line, their side of the contract, all the stuff we're talking about here, this is part of the contract.
Right.
If you have a service-connected anything that you can file, this is who should file.
Which is why it really becomes helpful to speak with like a VSO.
Yes.
Because they'll help you sit there and go, don't write that off.
No,
don't poo-poo that.
Through the bushes for you, and they'll ask you questions and stuff. But you need to ask yourself questions, and you need to start connecting your own dots. Think back to your service and think of everything you did, and then think of the problems that you have today, and look back and start asking yourself, is my foot problems that I have because of those boots that I had to wear? I was forced to wear them. And I mean, there's actually servicemen that are out there that do have, foot problems, and it's related back to the boots.
Sure. So there is just
anything
look
and
at these
everything.
things.
Yeah, most definitely. Okay. So if something happened to you during your service that still affects your life today, physically or mentally, think about starting your claim.
Definitely. So, that's really what it boils down to. You're taking care of yourself.
Exactly. So we're going to invite you to subscribe, click the like button, and you'll be able to get more of these conversations that
Definitely.
we're focusing on vets, because our husbands are vets.
Right. And well, everything's leading up to Tallulah Village.
Well, it is. It definitely is. But we also want to put this information out there in a way that people can understand. And yes, I am talking to spouses here because let's face it, we're the ones that end up doing a lot of the legwork.
Yeah, a lot of times we do, because the rest of it, it's that overwhelm factor.
It is.
Can sometimes be related back to service.
Well, there you go. So, most definitely.
And I think next week we're going to go even a little bit farther, and we'll talk more about the whole ratings, because it doesn't work the way normal people would think it should.
Nothing works like we think it should.
So, we can look forward to that one.
Yep.
And
so,
in the meantime, we're just interested, and we'd like to know if you'd be willing to share, why haven't you started a claim? What is it that is holding you back? So leave something in the comments. We're not, we're just curious, because we hear different things as we've spoken with people. We're just kind of curious. So what is it?
Well, and maybe we can offer a little bit of encouragement for those situations.
Definitely.
As well.
And sometimes that's what you need, is you need a sounding board outside of your circle.
Well, yeah, because we all tend to sit in this little box of our own.
And sometimes a fresh perspective can do a world of good.
So consider us your fresh perspective.
We're fresh.
So there you go, folks. Coffee is on, chaos is managed.
That's Couch Talk.